Ukraine has been in limelight for last nearly 1 month plus. What is exactly happening in Ukraine? What is the stand of United States, Europe and NATO countries? What is the stand of Russia? And what should be the stand of India in this context? Is there some lessons that we can learn from this conflict? What we will talk today is grey zone warfare by Russia against Ukraine, but more important for us as to what lessons can we learn from this grey zone warfare and prepare ourselves to face the grey zone warfare launched against India by our enemy number one, China. Let us start. What is the situation today on the Ukraine border? Ukraine is a country of nearly 4.5 crores. It is a country which was a part of erstwhile USSR. After USSR broke, it became an independent country. The moment USSR broke, almost 11 countries that broke away from USSR became a part of NATO, which is North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Most of them have also joined European Union. You are aware that North Atlantic Treaty Organization is a military alliance against the erstwhile USSR, which consists of Europe and America also. Warsaw was Russia's counter to it, but Warsaw is not spoken about these days. So, a lot of countries which broke away from USSR have become a part of European Union, have become a part of NATO, meaning that they have gone against the present Russia. Today, Russia's strongman is Mr. Putin, who's known to use strong arm tactics. What he's doing today is, the status today is that more than 1.75 lakh troops are deployed on the Ukraine border. What we must also remember is few months back, Crimea, which was a part of erstwhile Ukraine, has been nibbled away by Russia. So therefore, obviously, Ukraine is scared that Russia is going to attack. The Russian pretext is that we are carrying out exercises here. What is the Russian demand? Russia says the USA and the NATO must give us a guarantee that Ukraine will be no more be a part of NATO. That means Russia does not want NATO, Ukraine inside NATO. Why is Russia scared of NATO? Because some of the countries which became part of NATO have allowed the NATO armies to be deployed in their country. So Russia is therefore scared that this may happen in case of Ukraine also, and you will have NATO army right on its border. What do the Americans want, or the Western world want? Western world is very clear. They say you should not carry out invasion. In fact, no less a person than the president of USA, Joe Biden, has repeatedly been saying that war on Ukraine by Russia is imminent. In fact, he said it so many times that ultimately the president of Ukraine had to intervene and say that we should not spread such kind of information, because that affects the economy of Ukraine and nobody will want to carry out economic relationship with the Ukraine. Presently, America says should Ukraine be attacked by Russia, which is highly possible, then USA army will not be used. However, they will carry out very severe economic sanctions against Russia, by which they will paralyze them. That means Americans are not going to physically get involved in a war in Ukraine. Americans do not like casualties. American people do not want casualties. So therefore, America banks very heavily on other instruments of power, and a physical war is impossible. As far as Europe is concerned, they are also banking very heavily on diplomacy and economic relations. As far as Russia is concerned, today Russia supplies nearly 35 to 40% of gas and oil to European countries. And in the days to come, this is expected to increase exponentially because Europe is always short of fuel and Russia is very much surplus as far as gas and oil is concerned. So everybody requires everybody, but nobody is willing to listen to anybody. Now, both these parties in this conflict want India to be on their side, while India has very clearly said that we do not want a war, we want peace to prevail here, and we want the United Nations to intervene and ensure that no war takes place there. Why are we not taking any sides? Because USA and the Western world is a friend of ours. We got very good relations with them, with good economic relations with them. Also, Russia is a supplier of arms and ammunition. So we do not want to take sides. But how long can we avoid it? Because America wants India to be on their side. Russia wants India to be on their side. Can we stay permanently neutral is the question. Now, actually, a physical war, I have said number of times, is a very that's a very small prospect of this war taking place. However, what is happening right now is grey zone warfare. What is grey zone warfare? There is no physical war, there is no peace. There are many activities which Russia is carrying out against Ukraine by which it is destabilizing Ukraine. Now, what are these activities is what we need to understand. Activity number one, information warfare. They are scaring Ukraine by every day issuing threat to them. Psychological warfare. There's a tremendous amount of psychological pressure which has been put on Ukrainian political leadership, their army, and also the people of Ukraine. Also, it is talking about stopping all the economic relations with Ukraine. Also, it is very recently, just 2-3 days back, they attacked the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine's website. They attacked many more sites by which they showed their power to Ukraine that should they want it, they can paralyze the command, communication and control setup of Ukraine. Not only that, Russia sent its private mercenaries in Crimea and by which they were able to capture Crimea. There are also reports that Russians will adopt to certain tactics by which they will show that the Ukraine army attacked them, so therefore they went to war. Also, they are carrying out political interference inside Ukraine. They are trying to support certain political figureheads in Ukraine to come on the side of Russia. So they are using a large number of means by which they are trying to stop, they are trying to reduce the fighting potential of Ukraine, and they want to win the war without firing a bullet. What we must understand is that is this tactics useful? Well, they have not proved useful up till now because the Ukrainian public, the Ukrainian political leadership up till now have stood firm. However, why is Ukraine so important and why was Ukraine wanted to join the NATO in the first place? When USSR broke, that time lot of nuclear weapons were deployed physically on the land of Ukraine. Lot of nuclear reactors were there, lot of their firing systems were there. So the Western world told Ukraine that you destroy these weapons, you destroy this weapon system, you sign non-proliferation treaty, and in the bargain we will ensure that you get security of all types. However, did this Ukraine almost agreed to it? They almost signed an agreement in 1904 in Budapest in which this was said that in along with Kazakhstan, Belarus, Russia, they will be protected. However, at that point of time, Ukraine had about 1,700 warheads. They had over 200 missiles. They had about 30 nuclear capable bombers. So, this was to be neutralized, and in turn, security would be guaranteed to them by the USA and the NATO countries. But this was proved false when Russia annexed Crimea in 2014 and created a proxy regime there. So Ukrainians now know that possibly the guarantee that the Western world is giving fully cannot be believed. So now, what will the NATO? What will now in the next days to come? What will USA do? What will Russia do? And what is the correct action as far as India is concerned? What we must understand is today Ukraine has also taken a number of measures to counter the Russians. They have told their army to be on the stand to. They have also passed a law in which they have said that all Ukrainian citizens, everybody, should Russia capture them, will start a resistance movement after Russia is captured Ukraine, so that again Ukraine is liberated. So basically Ukraine is preparing for the worst contingency. Should an attack take place, they will defend themselves. Is it possible for Russia to capture Ukraine militarily? It looks difficult. Why? Because what the Ukrainians and Americans have done quietly is increase the drone power. One would remember that when there was a war between Azerbaijan and Armenia, Armenia had most modern weapons, conventional weapons like tanks, armored personnel carriers, guns, etc. While Azerbaijan, which defeated Armenia in this war, used the drone powers. One is aware that drone is a pilotless aircraft, small aircraft, which is used to target enemy weapon system. The drone technology is very modern, drone technology is very cheap, and the Turkey and Israeli drones completely defeated the conventional might of Armenia. So this is exactly what is happening in Ukraine also. Ukraine has quietly been armed by the Americans with drone power. So should Russian tanks and Russian military carry out a physical attack on Ukraine, this drone power will be used. A lot of training of the Ukrainians has been done. They have constructed a lot of defenses. So it is not going to be easy at all for Russia to militarily take over Ukraine. This is one thing very sure. However, most important issue is what can India learn out of this grey zone warfare which has been carried out by Russia against Ukraine. What is this grey zone warfare? They have massed troops on their border and trying to scare them. This is exactly what the Chinese have done on the Indo-China border in Ladakh. They are carrying out information warfare. That is exactly what the Chinese are doing against us, repeatedly threatening us with various methods. Chinese also carry out an economic war with us. Chinese are trying to gain influence in certain political parties, among certain intellectuals, among some part of the media, among some part of think tanks, etc., by which they want to convince them and convince India that fighting a war with China or being enemy with China is not going to help. So this kind of tactics China has been using, grey zone warfare tactics, also called as salami slicing, in which they have settled villages on the border. They are using their graziers to encroach into our India. They are trying to refuel insurgency in the northeast. They are using certain discontented people in our country to go in for agitations by which you can block roads, you can stop the economic progress. They're using the Nakshals to stop India's progress in the central part of India. They're using Pakistan as a proxy to fight against us. They're trying to create discontentment within the Indian population, make Indian population fight with each other so that India gets stuck in the problems of internal security at home only. So all these tactics China has been using repeatedly, and it learns all kinds of lessons from this kind of a warfare which is being fought against any country, against by any other country, against some other country. So we have to keep our eyes and ears open, keep on continuously monitoring the level of Chinese grey zone warfare. We also have to evolve our own offensive grey zone capability. What I mean by offensive capability is, if the Chinese have carried out an attack on our electricity grid, can we carry out an attack on their grid? If Chinese have penetrated into our social media and writing against us, can we penetrate the Chinese social media with the help of Chinese people who are outside China? There are more than 9 crore people today who are out China and they still own their account. So if we are able to subvert some Chinese, definitely we can enter their area and create a discontent in China. Now there is always a discontent in China because the Chinese army, retired army personnel feel that the Chinese army is being used as a fodder by the political leadership. Can we create more discontent among them? The weak points of China are Tibet, Xinjiang. Who want to become separate from China? Can we utilize them? There are countries which are fed up with China, especially on the border areas. Countries like Maldives, Sri Lanka, Nepal now know it very, very well as to how China is treating them. The African countries are very angry with China because the Chinese have ensured that they become permanently indebted to China. China is using its muscle power, economic power to win over the world bodies. Can we take the help of other countries and ensure that Chinese influence in the World Health Organization is reduced, Chinese influence in the United Nations Security Council is reduced? Instead of India defending itself on various occasions, can we make China defend itself on many occasions at the world bodies? Can we use our diplomacy? Can we use the quadrilateral cooperation? Today, the world suddenly started focusing on the Ukraine crisis. This is not good for India because Ukraine in any case can never be captured by Russia. However, this is taking the attention of the Europe and other countries away from China. The focus has to be China. China is number one enemy of the world, and we must ensure that all right-thinking countries are united to fight a combined war against China. So therefore, earlier the Ukraine crisis finishes, the better it will be. So we must utilize this time to keep on improving our offensive grey zone capabilities and keep on countering China in various fields, because the battle with China is going to continue. There is no need to worry too much about Ukraine, though Ukraine does create a problem for India from 2-3 point of view. There are more than 20,000 Indian students there who are studying in Ukraine. I am sure government will get them back. If war starts, then the gas prices and the oil prices will go up, but we need not worry about it. We have strategic reserves. In any case, now we are going in for other technologies like green fuel such as hydrogen and compressed natural gas, etc. We are trying to increase our sources of energy. So therefore, we have taken a number of measures to ensure that our capability to fight a grey zone war with China improves. However, what is most important is we must be capable of carrying out surgical strikes on China in the cyber domain, in all other domains. Anytime an anti-India activity is done by the China, it should be replied in that particular domain by India. Then only will we be able to reduce offensive warfare, offensive gray zone warfare by China by creating our own offensive gray zone capability which will scare China. I'll stop here. If you like the video, please like it and try and share it with as many people as possible. Jai Hind.